Oh,
She's got a little girl, so maybe she couldn't make it.
Okay, do it later.
She said she was coming?
Yeah, but at our last meeting, but something might have come up at school.
And so we're gonna open up continuation of the public hearing, consider adoption of comprehensive.
No.
plan.
No,
We're not opening.
no.
Continuation.
Yeah, it's not,
It's
it's
a
changed since
continuation, but
then,
it-
yeah.
You can comment if you need to, but it's not, we're not opening it up as a continuation.
Yeah, the meeting will be reopened on June 2nd.
So what does that mean? So,
It's
If
a
you want to
continuation from
comment,
last
you can
meeting.
comment during public comment, like it's not specifically being opened up
are we gonna get answers to the questions from the last meeting?
tonight?
Yeah.
No,
Okay, so we just don't get an answer.
At the end, when it's closed.
June 2nd.
June 2nd, yeah. The only thing, I think, at last meeting, we announced that this would be a workshop, and where we potentially discussed changes that came up between.
We said if there was anything specific to discuss.
So we
in
just
terms
ask
of-
questions and we never get answers till it closes and you guys vote on it, basically.
It's
Okay,
it was a public hearing,
Yeah.
right? So we were here to, the purpose of it was to hear,
But there were a lot of questions asked during that.
There were a
I think
lot of
Mr. Pizzazza did ask if we were gonna get answers to those questions, and you guys said yes.
June 2nd, if there are things that we need to specifically address, we will.
Okay.
What
You-
I-
you
what I
didn't- You didn't
did
say
say
June
was-
2nd at the last meeting.
If
That's
there
what
was
I'm
any,
saying. He asked a question, he asked if the question's gonna get answered, and you guys all said yes. You didn't say June 2nd.
well, we didn't say when.
Okay. How about some transparency here, like some dialogue going back and forth, so we can get answers to those questions?
So I can give you an update. What I said.
Because I'm gonna ask the same
was-
questions again tonight.
That's
The
okay,
stenographer's not
Vinny,
here
you can ask
either.
whatever you want.
Is there a reason why the stenographer's not here? Why, she took it the first day,
Because
the
it's
public
not a
hearing continues.
continuation. this
Because the
evening.
public hearing isn't on for tonight.
But they said a continuation of the public hearing to the next meeting.
No, it's not at all what we said. We said until June 2nd,
Right.
and there'd be a workshop and not a
It's
public hearing
kept
today.
open. It was kept open. We're not, we didn't close it.
Mm-hmm.
So public comment can still come in if you send an email and you want to put something in writing for folks that weren't here and they still have some thoughts that they would like for us to review. That's what we're doing. We're in the review process. That's why we were keeping it open until June 2nd. Part of the reason, not all of it. I did say if there was anything specific that we had reviewed, that we were willing, potentially gonna, potential changes to revise, that
So since the last meeting, has there anything been reviewed and changed?
has been reviewed, yes.
Changed?
Nothing has been changed yet, we're still in the review process. So we met with the landowner for the third time. And other concepts were now presented to us during that meeting. Something that just came in hours before this meeting that I received. So we're not gonna comment on it until everything is in and we can discuss it with the planner. I mean, you gotta remember, that public hearing.
So June 2nd,
This
is it
has
closed,
been-
is it closing on the June 2nd?
That's the intention.
All right, because then we're gonna get the answers to all these questions on June 2nd. How do we rebut that or talk about it or advise the public of the changes? And you're gonna close it and vote on it that day?
Okay, number one, we didn't even get back the minutes from the stenographer yet. So I'm still waiting on that.
That wasn't my question.
So, yes, but that's where all the comments are, for us to be able to, we need to review what is in writing. We have the tape.
You have a
Yes,
videotape.
we do.
It's on YouTube,
It is.
very visible. Back to my question. We asked a bunch of questions last meeting. June 2nd's gonna come. You guys may or may not announce changes to said comp plan, and then you're gonna vote on it that same day? Or you're gonna extend the public hearing so we can address the changes that are possible changes or non-changes from the
Correct me
questions
if
that we
I'm wrong,
asked?
Chris, I mean, we're not required to be answering, even though we said that we would. We tried to take all the considerations into play.
So if there are any changes, if there are any major changes to the comp plan, that would necessarily extend the process, and the board couldn't adopt it on June 2nd.
That's my
Because,
question.
because we'd have to go through the GML process again and send it back to the county.
But there's another piece to that also. So if there are major changes made, it has to go back through the
Correct.
process. So what I'm understanding is that even if we adopt it and we then decide to possibly make changes, we have no problem doing that. That we can do. But if we do not close it on the 2nd, we are now going into the extension of the moratorium.
Well,
And we
that's-
cannot extend again.
Then we have an issue, it seems like we have a problem
It's
then.
not that much of an
So,
issue.
so you're basically telling me that there will be no major changes in the comp plan, because it's gonna get extended?
Major?
That's
I'm
basically-
gonna,
That's basically.
now we're going into where it's common, it's just not a back and forth.
That's basically what you just stated, right there. You're not making major changes because you can't extend into the moratorium, that expiration. That's basically
Let me know
what you
if I
said.
should be
Thank you.
answering.
Nope, you're good.
Okay. I tried to explain
you.
it the best that I could.
Yeah, you did, thank you, sir.
Not really.
Truth, you said the truth. Donna, you said the truth, basically.
The truth?
Yeah, that's what you
Donna.
said, the truth.
Don't engage.
So Bill Raymer, Washington Boulevard, for those of us that did send written comments or written questions, will they be answered? When will they be answered and how will they be answered?
Chris, at this point,
Any questions the board will answer will be answered by June 2nd.
By what means? So, here in the open or by an email?
Great answer.
Billboard, I don't know. I mean, it depends on what the board, how the board wants to answer it. There's no legally set
Okay.
method for answering
Does
questions.
the board know how they're gonna do that?
Morse code.
What's that?
he asked if the board knows how they are going to do that.
I assume the answer is no.
Wow.
This is crazy.
What I
I'm
can
sorry.
tell you is the planner is gathering all the comments right now, and we are in the process of reviewing them. Let's not forget, this has been over a 2-year process. This isn't something that's just being presented and it's a new idea here. This has been a work in progress for over 2 years. Those comp meetings were open.
And this is the
Everything's been
public
out
hearing.
there.
And
You
this is
all
the
couldn't
public
come
hearing.
to any of those
Down to the
meetings.
wire, the public hearing is down to the wire, and we're gonna
Down
rush
to
it
the
in
wire, it's
before
been over
the
2
moratorium
years.
is up. We're gonna rush it in, that's what we're.
Donna, do not engage.
Okay.
Let Vinnie go off and,
Go off, it's transparency. You're gonna rush it
We've
to the
been nothing
moratorium.
but transparent, Vinnie.
You're gonna rush it
Donna.
right to the end. No major changes, you said it.
Paul?
Just Paul Lang, 10 Patriot Lane, point of order. I'm concerned about the mayor's well-being. It's the second meeting, he's not here.
The mayor is on vacation.
He's on vacation.
Thank you for asking.
We're gonna open up public comment on the agenda items only.
Vinnie?
We'll be getting a copy of these local laws, and then they'll be available.
You will have, it is the intention to have access to this irrigation meter.
I want both of them, the sidewalk, and I asked about that the last
I
time.
don't, Vinnie, I'm telling you the one that I am involved with. If we are doing the last bits of tweaks, we're just waiting for the engineer's input, and then it will be posted online for you to review.
Do we have the sidewalk local law available yet? I asked that at the last meeting.
Steve, do we have that sidewalk law ready to be posted on the website yet?
Not that I'm aware of, but I don't know.
I'll do my
I
best
think
to
they're
make sure
working.
they're both posted at the same time.
That's why we're rescheduling it to June 2nd.
Why is that?
the final version of the meter
version's
law, I
not
just sent
ready
them
yet.
today. So, it just hasn't been posted yet.
Plus, we need to do the 10 days notice.
Anybody else? Okay, announcements, water sewer bills have been mailed out to residents and businesses. Number 2, implementation of changing water meters is an ongoing process. 3, the DPW is in the process of planting trees in downtown village area. To date, 4 trees have been planted, and 3 more will be done this week. Number 4, the Village Veterans Memorial Day Parade will be held on Monday, May 26th. Hot dogs will be served after the parade ends at Fireman's Memorial Park. Number 5, at the Kiwanis Club, the Washingtonville Flags for Heroes program will take place at Fireman's Memorial Park as follows. May 22nd, flags will be put up. June 7th, program honoring the heroes, 11 o'clock a.m. at Fireman's Memorial Park. June 8th, flags will be taken down. Resolution 25-0069 to schedule a public hearing date regarding local law entitled Irrigation Meters, Allowance of Properties to have a separate water meter for the purpose of irrigation, to be held on Monday, June 2nd at 7 p.m. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0-1. Resolution 25-0070 to reschedule the public hearing regarding a local law amending Chapter 260 of the Village Code, Streets and Sidewalk cafes, to be held on Monday, June 2nd. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0-1. To authorize the employment of Jack Delgudice as a seasonal summer help for the Department of Public Works effective Monday, May 19th, 2025, at an hourly wage of $16.50. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0-1. Resolution 25-0072 to authorize Mayor Thomas DeVinco or designate to sign the Orange County Sheriff's Office Firearms Training Facility revocable license agreement, which will allow the Washingtonville Police Department to continue to use the range facility for firearms training when needed. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0-1. To authorize budget transfers and amendments is necessary to effect necessary transfer of funds to pay village warrants. Numbers are as follows. The general fund is $63,532.72. The water fund is $48,798.45. And sewer fund is $33,113. All those in favor?
Well, you need a motion.
Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0-1. And lastly, Resolution 25-0074 to approve a facility use request for St. Mary's Horizons Youth Group Pickleball Tournament at Belver and Allen Park on Sunday, June 8th, from 1 p.m. until 5 p.m. for 3 courts, based on receipt of certificate of insurance. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0-1. Now we do public comment on non-agenda items.
Paul?
Paul Line, 10 Paper Lane. Okay, so I have a number of things here. You just approved a facility use request for the Horizons Youth Group to use the pickleball tournament, and they have to have a certificate of insurance. Saturday I came home from work, I wanted to get a gyro, but I couldn't because the square was closed again with a party and tent set up, and there was no parking in there. Why are we allowing groups to do this without insurance, without permits, without having coming through the board? We mentioned this at the last meeting, and this is some of the things I want answered that we asked the last meeting. We didn't get an answer, I didn't get an answer. Again, they had Saturdays in the square, no insurance, somebody's gonna get hurt down there,
They
and the
did all their
village is gonna be on the hook.
insurances in January for the whole year,
Huh?
their events. They did all their insurances in January for the whole
When
year.
did they do the permits?
I'm sorry?
They didn't do a permit in this room for an event down there. I went through the minutes, I went through the videos, I had seen nothing. You even admitted it last time, that there was no permit, last meeting. And yet they had another event on Saturday. It's liability to the village. You wanna do it, fine, do it. We go back to whenever, are we charging them for those events? Are we making money on those events? These are discussions we've had in this room many times before. If we're gonna rent out our spaces, we should be getting money for it. And they should have a permit. They don't have a permit. They didn't come before the board to get an assembly permit. You want me to, I'll be the guy, I'll be the bad guy. Same thing with the Girl Scouts. They had the roll-a-thon. That's supposed to be a permit also. You guys are just letting people do things, just run things. I'm gonna have a barbecue next week at Burn Allen. All right, everybody's invited, come on down. I'm not gonna get a permit or insurance. You guys gotta wake up, man. You can't let people just do whatever they want. Groups. I'll let you think about that. Second thing, and the other thing was, in that too, I was told at the last meeting, oh yeah, actually when Tom was here, the last meeting that Tom was here, we talked to all the businesses and they were good with that, they were okay with that. I can't imagine Andy's Barber Shop being good with the village shutting down his parking on a Saturday. It's not like he can bring a chair outside and do haircuts. I don't know. Maybe I'll go talk to Andy and see how he feels. But you just shut down that whole square for a small party or whatever it was. I don't know. Second thing. The oil spill from last year is still evident at Burn Allen Park. This would be a good time for the board to contact the Knights of Columbus, to have them contact the operator of the carnival and have them pay for that repair. If the Department of Environmental Protection came in and evaluated that spill, I guarantee you, they would issue a summons to the person or persons or company that created that problem, number one. Number two, grass hasn't grown there. I can send you a picture of it if you want, if you haven't seen it. I think the Knights of Columbus should go to the carnival operator and put it through an insurance claim. I'm concerned about kids running around. If grass ain't growing there, something's going on. If I did that on my lawn or my backyard, if I dumped that much oil, petroleum, somebody would be there writing me tickets.
Where
We let-
exactly in Burn Allen is it?
Huh?
Where exactly is Burn
Oh,
Allen?
come on, where is it?
Yeah,
It's a big bear spot. When you come in on Ahern, look to your left.
I don't usually go to the parks.
All right,
That's
well,
what I'm
when you come in on, you
No, I
live,
don't
you
know.
live up there, so go in Ahern this time.
asking. Okay, but I'm asking you like where I'm looking.
Where the dead grass is.
Where the dead grass is. I'll show you the
Can't
picture.
miss it.
I don't have your phone number, but I'll show you the picture after the meeting. We know it's there.
In the
In
middle
fact,
where the carnival sets up,
Huh?
in the middle where the carnival.
Where
sets up.
they set up their generator, and I just looked at it on the way out, the generator is not there yet, and in addition, the mayor said that they were gonna have them put a can under that generator this year to prevent that, but that has to be fixed. Now, here's the same company here, gonna put that same generator there. Knights of Columbus should be going to them and saying, hey, look at this. This is from last year, and it hasn't been fixed. That ground has to be dug out, just like an oil tank or whatever. That ground has to be dug out. That was probably hundreds of gallons of diesel fuel or whatever petroleum it was. And now you got kids running around on that field, again, liability to the village. I don't know the grass ain't growing there. So maybe something else is growing there that's not good. And I think the Knights of Columbus should get to, you guys should get to the Knights of Columbus and have them approach the carnival, people to get it fixed. The other thing that wasn't answered from the last meeting, hydrant flushing. I said that they didn't come down my block. Well, what happened?
I spoke to them personally.
Yes?
And the actual department head personally did your street and your street.
They opened up the hydrant.
Yep.
What was that,
Personally
Finnegan?
did it, wasn't one of his men, he personally did it.
Finnegan?
Justin, your brother.
Justin?
I got cameras on my house, I can see the hydrant from my camera. No
I
way.
can't believe, every
I'll send you
time,
the video for the entire week.
every time that we did hydrant flushing in the village, going way back, when we did hydrant flushing, when we did hydrant flushing way back, you couldn't drive through this village. I mean, you had that schedule, you had a great schedule, they had a great schedule for hydrant flushing. Well, for that whole week, I can't believe that I drove in and around this village and did not see one hydrant on. When we used to do hydrant flushing, it was very obvious that we were doing hydrant flushing. I never suffered any brown water that week, but just driving around with your schedule, you always saw a hydrant on. And if you look at my hydrant, I mean, you can tell if something's been open. If they put a wrench on the top of that hydrant, you would see some fresh metal marks. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. I mean, you want me to say he's a liar? Well, he's telling me I'm a liar because I'm saying they didn't do it, and he's saying they did. And my hydrant was broken, so I'd like to know if it works because they supposedly fixed it. Water would have been hanging around. You would have seen some evidence somewhere in this village. Or driving around, I don't.
That's Patriot, right?
Patriot, yeah. I don't work all week, but I drive around, I go to work part-time, I'm up and down these streets, and I go see friends in the village here. I did not see one hydrant on in this village during that week. And that's really strange. But we did
Well, it's
flushing.
strange that we had to pay him for it.
But we did flushing.
But he assured me he personally did those two streets.
The other thing
He did other
was,
ones, but-
the last thing for now that I have, the pickleball courts. The new pickleball courts, did you notice the first one? If you have, let's say you have the old set, 1, 2, 3. Did you notice the fourth pickleball court?
What about it? I was on it.
The way after a heavy rain, the way they pave, water
Yes.
pools on it.
I did.
Water pools on it, poor paving. We paid for that, right?
The
that
backside,
paving?
the backside of the
Huh?
one?
Yeah, the backside of
the
one.
third court.
Yeah, every
I
court was
played on
full
that
except
court
that one, because
Sunday.
there was a lake there.
There wasn't water, but I did see the.
Oh, no,
bevel.
there was water when I saw it. After that heavy rain, there was water pooling there. So now we paid for that paving. Do we go back to the paver and say, hey, make good on this? And then to the pickleball people painting it, a lot of money.
We'll contact them, let them know, see what happens. I don't know what kind of-
How big of a bottle, I mean?
It was a big puddle. Nobody
I
was
know we
using
bought
it.
square piece
It
on
was-
both sides,
It was
just-
big enough that no one could use it, because every other one was full.
I was on it on Sunday.
Yeah,
So
every other one was
I saw the
full.
bevel in the backside of the third court.
It looks like it's deep.
So you could see that if there was a rain, that it would kind of
Yep.
pool in there, it would puddle in there.
And they couldn't see that, you could see that bevel, but they couldn't see that bevel when they were painting it or paving it?
I don't
I'm
know.
just asking.
Or did it settle afterwards? I don't know.
I don't know. All right, I'll take a break.
Anyone else? Vinnie?
Vinnie Lang, from Brock. After the last meeting, the wood chipper came around. Is there a set time? It used to be the last Wednesday of the month. He came around, I ended up running out there trying to get shit together, he already went by, but I got the stuff sitting out there now, 2 weeks. Is it still the last Wednesday of the month?
It's supposed to be the last Wednesday. If we get the really bad windstorms, as we have been getting lately, they have been coming out more frequently. If they miss you, just give me a call and we'll make sure we'll send them out there. But yes, it is supposed to be the last week, not specifically Wednesday, the last week of the month.
So it's not Wednesday, it's just the last week?
Week.
Gotcha. I'm just gonna reiterate what I said at the last meeting, with this comp plan in reference to RVs. Right now, you know, as I'm reading this, one camper, motorhome RV camper not exceeding 35 feet in length may be stored on occupied property in any residential district provided that the vehicle is not stored in the front yard. So does that include the driveway? That's my first question. Where did the 35 feet come from? Why 35 feet? We got several residents within this village that have larger RVs. These RVs range between $50,000 and $200,000. So you're basically telling that resident that he's gotta go put that $200,000 motorhome in storage for another fee. So we're just banging these residents. He's had this $200,000 investment in his driveway, and you tell him he's gotta move it. So are they, you know, the word grandfathered is used a lot in this comp plan, so is it gonna be grandfathered? That's one question, because there's RVs all over this village right now. And it's just something that you're raising taxes, let's just stick it to them again, they can pay storage on their investment that they got sitting in their driveway.
Vinnie, if I could just ask further, and this is just a question, are you asking for clarification that front yard is a separate entity from a driveway?
Yeah,
Okay, that's all I want to know.
you know,
Okay, I just wanted to get clarification.
And you're also asking if they are grandfathered in, if they're already existing.
that's what I said, yeah. It'll be on camera, I know the stenographer's not here. And where did the 35 feet come from? You know, who determined 35 feet is a legit number? You know, RVs now, 35 feet is like a minimum RV these days. You know, they're out there, everybody has them, just drive around the village. You know, and these guys that have these $200,000 motorhomes, you're gonna tell them that you can't have it? You know, that's an investment, that's, their house on wheels.
Well, they cost a lot more than $200K these days.
Well, yeah, but the ones that I've driven by in this village, I looked up Kelly Blue Boats, that's what they're worth. So, you're gonna tell these residents, they gotta go pay for storage now. So you're just banging these residents, even more.
RV insurance right now with square footage has changed with the companies. They may not be able to put it in storage because of exclusions within the policy. So you'd have to ask these people who have the motorhomes, if they have the rider on their insurance policy or what. We don't know, but they should have insurance. Somebody needs to educate them, not me, it's conflict of interest, but somebody needs to educate them and see if they have insurance, very important. Because those policies too restrict you where you can store that thing. It may be the yard, it may be something else, but you gotta look at those policies. And that's it.
Anybody else?
So, to catch on another point, the question that I had sent to the board related to the zoning, I think I searched the document, I didn't find the word grandfather anywhere in the document. Is that correct?
The language would be pre-existing non-conforming.
Okay.
That was on the previous comp review thing, slide thing that you guys had.
Hi, Paul Lang, Les Part. Again, I hope that you follow up on it this week, this month, on those things that I mentioned. The oil spill at Vern Allen, the permits for events in the village, and finally, I'll ask, what's the level of the wells?
They were between 19 and 22.
Okay, and how about the
Just
police
with doing
contract?
fluctuating list.
Police contract is signed?
I'm sorry?
Police contract is signed?
Nope,
Not yet?
nope, they're reviewing it now with their members. It will be signed, we're gonna close on it the 2nd of June.
Okay. You'll vote on it then?
Assuming everything gets, approved through their guys. It should. Anybody else? Going once, going twice? We need executive session? Did I make a motion to adjourn the meeting? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion